Hey everybody, Dr. Dave Marquis here, and I wanted to share with you that I'm feeling a little bit vindicated lately. And that's because almost 3 years ago now, I experienced my first censoring. I got a slap on the hand by Google and YouTube. And I thought, well, why? Well, what have I done wrong? And they really don't take time to explain much. They basically just say that you're not following something like neighborhood guidelines or something like that. You're not playing well in our sandbox. And I thought, well, it's really not worth the battle. And that bugged me. It really did bug me that I wasn't able to share solid information with those individuals that both are within my own circle of influence and anyone who might want to find more information out about the things that I was sharing. Because it wasn't from me, I was literally sharing the literature. Two of the videos that got censored early on, one was on the mineral zinc, because I wanted to talk about its effects in helping people's immune system function appropriately relative to viruses. And again, that wasn't out of the book of Dr. Dave, that was actually just research. And then the other one was about masking, and I went straight to OSHA and I looked up all the literature for like the past 50 years on the use of masks, and I just shared it. And boy, that just blew up in the whole world's face, kind of. And we've all lived through that, so you know that. And notable individuals in the media like Dr. Fauci have really waffled back and forth relative to their stance on this whole topic. To the credit of Mr. Stephen Kirsch, who I really appreciate him going out and helping to inform people and taking the time to extract data from sources that are actually becoming hidden and harder for people to find if you were to do your own literature search. So kudos to Mr. Kirsch for doing that and providing that information for people to understand that, you know what, there's two sides to every discussion, and it really behooves each of us, if we care, to become educated on those sides so that you can determine the truth for yourself. And recently, like 2023, so like right now, multiple studies and a conclusive review study have come out on masking to look at that whole topic, because what we're seeing now is the after effects. Many of those after effects have impacted our children, and that's where I really get a needle in my side, because if you've watched me at all, I have 4 kids, and I believe that every child does have a right to have a childhood and a proper education, and to be protected by those individuals who have brought them into this world or who have stewardship over them. Children have this right. They all should be protected. And so we as adults should not be embracing anything that potentially could harm them. And masking harms kids. There's no two ways about that. It impacts them psychologically, it impacts them physiologically, and it impacts them metabolically, all in negative ways. So I won't belabor that point, but I want to emphasize that is the truth, and there's ample research to substantiate that. But beyond the research, logic should dictate that. When you see a child who's trying to learn about facial expression and communication and speech patterns and cadence and how to interact with other human beings to care about us as brothers and sisters on this planet, we need faces. We need to be able to share our lips and interact in that sense. So when we hide that, they lose that timing of that skill development. And many times people will say, well, no, they'll still get it. No, they've missed that period of development. And so unless you intentionally go back in time and have an occupational therapist actually work with them, or some type of functional neurologist like the work that we do here to help them reintegrate some of those neurological skills, they missed it. And then from that point, it actually takes them on a divergent course in terms of who they become. What kind of society are we building when we allow some of these policies that have no basis in fact to be applied universally so that we, in a uniform fashion, harm all of us? adults and children. Well, I'm glad that it's stopping, but I'm saddened that I see some individuals still holding on to that because I understand how fearful they must be to still embrace that behavior and not recognize the deficits that it causes, particularly in kids. I hope that you take the time to look at some of these articles. One of my favorites was done by the Cochrane database, and the Cochrane research database is a really reliable group, and they look at clinical trials and then they'll make meta-analyses so that you can actually look at a volume of trials altogether and get an idea of the trend. So their most recent one was entitled Physical Intervention to Interrupt or Reduce the Spread of Respiratory Viruses by the Cochrane database, and that was January 30th, 2023. Take some time and look that up. It's a really interesting article. There were several others. If you want to give Mr. Kirsch's site a look, and you can pull up several of the others that he posted there, they are also well worth the read. I hope that's informative to you, and I hope it motivates you to take a stand for our kids and for yourself, and always seek the truth because it's going to uplift you. It's going to protect you. Be well.